Every second you scroll, you're forgetting who you are. You were never meant to just watch life happen. You are the creator. And the longer you wait, the further your dream drifts into someone else's hands. Have you ever felt like you're standing still in a world that keeps spinning faster and faster without you? You're not lazy. You're not lost. You're just remembering. And when you remember, everything changes. This video is your moment of return. From consumer to creator. From echo to origin. Are you ready to remember? There is a trance you may not even know you're in. A silent hypnosis. One that doesn't use swinging pendulums or whispered mantras, but instead uses screens, scrolling, and the subtle seduction of other people's lives. It begins so innocently. You open your phone for a moment of distraction, just 5 minutes, just one video, one post. But time stretches, your breath shortens, and something in you begins to dim. Not because what you're watching is evil, but because slowly, subtly, it replaces your presence with passivity. You were never meant to be a spectator in your own life. You are not an audience member to someone else's destiny. You came here to create, to move, to become. But the passive trance tells you, later, not now, just one more scroll. It's gentle, it's addictive, it feels safe, and yet it robs you of the very thing you're aching for. The power to shape your own reality. In this trance, you begin to confuse watching with living. You mistake admiration for inspiration. You consume the light of others, while your own inner flame begins to flicker. Can you feel it? That quiet ache in your chest after hours of absorbing? The numbness that creeps in, not just in your body, but in your soul? This is no accident. The modern world is designed to keep you scrolling, comparing, consuming. But you were never meant to be a copy of a copy of a copy. You are an original frequency, a unique vibration the universe crafted to express something only you can. And every moment you stay in the passive trance, that frequency waits, that energy holds, that reality delays. The more you watch, the more you forget. The more you consume, the less you create. And the less you create, the more distant your destiny becomes. But here's the truth the trance doesn't want you to realize. Creation isn't found in perfection. It's found in movement, in choosing to act before you're ready, in expressing before you're certain. And that spark, that raw, imperfect expression of your soul, is what the quantum field responds to. The field is not listening to what you watch. It listens to what you emit. It mirrors your vibration, not your wish. So if your days are spent watching others build, others share, others shine, then that's what the field reflects. A life observed, but not embodied. This is not to shame you, but to awaken you. Because if you're still here, still listening, it means a deeper part of you is stirring. A part that remembers, I was not born to scroll. I was born to sculpt. I was born to sing. I was born to shift the stars with my frequency. And that begins, not tomorrow, but now, in this breath, with one small decision to return to yourself. Creation is not something outside of you. It is not something you do with effort. It is something you remember when you return to who you truly are. You are creation itself. You are the vibration made flesh, the breath of source wrapped in skin. But somewhere along the way, you were taught that creating meant producing, that you needed permission, a certificate, an audience, a perfect plan. But the universe doesn't work like that. The quantum field doesn't respond to plans. It responds to frequency. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. You don't attract what you chase. You attract what you emit. And what you emit, your vibration, is shaped by what you create from within. Every thought you hold is an energetic blueprint. Every feeling you embody is a signal. Every intention, every whisper of desire, every silent dream, they're all vibrations echoing through the quantum field. The field is always listening, always arranging, always responding. So what are you radiating? Are you radiating hesitation or devotion? Are you vibrating in doubt or in divine trust? Are you waiting for sign Or are you becoming the sign? To create is to declare, I am ready to co-write with the universe. It's a sacred collaboration, not forced, not rushed, but deeply aligned. Creation happens the moment you choose to become the version of you who already lives the life you desire. Because in the quantum realm, there is no time, only alignment. Your dream life already exists, right now, in a parallel stream of possibility. But you cannot visit it from the frequency of passivity. You must tune to it, resonate with it. And that resonance is activated through creation. It means you stop waiting to feel ready. You stop asking for permission. You stop outsourcing your power. And instead, you begin creating from the energy of truth, of coherence, of alignment. Even if it's messy, even if no one sees, even if it feels small, because the field doesn't measure volume, it measures vibration. That one poem you write, that voice note you speak into the void, that single stroke of color on a blank canvas, that journal entry where your soul spills out raw, it all counts, it all creates, because creation is energy in motion, and motion is how timelines bend. You don't need to go viral, you need to go vibrational. The version of you living your dream life isn't more talented, isn't more deserving. They're just more attuned, more expressed, more unapologetically aligned. They are not afraid to speak, to show, to shine. They don't wait for the world to ask. They simply become the answer. And you can too. The moment you say, I'm no longer here just to watch, you step into divine authorship. You stop being a character in a story written by fear and begin to write from the voice of your higher self. This is the shift that changes everything. From consumer to conductor. From watcher to weaver of worlds. You stop recycling the energy of others and start generating your own. That's when the universe moves. That's when synchronicities multiply. That's when people, places, and timelines begin to bend in your direction. Because energy responds to clarity, and clarity lives in creation. It's about coherence. It's not about doing more. It's about being more of who you truly are. It's about creating from the heart, not the mind. From inspiration, not obligation. From intuition, not imitation. Every act of creation is a message to the universe. I trust myself. I choose myself. I remember who I am. And in that remembrance, you unlock realities beyond logic, beyond time, beyond limitation. You enter the vibrational slipstream where manifestation becomes magnetic, where effort becomes energy, where dreaming becomes doing, and doing becomes being. This is the frequency of creation. It's already within you. It always was. The question is no longer, can you create, but will you allow yourself to? There is a reason we hesitate at the edge of our own greatness, a reason we scroll instead of speak, hide instead of shine, observe instead of create. And it's not because we are lazy, not because we are unworthy, not because we lack talent or time or tools. It's because we are afraid, but not of failure, not really. We are afraid of what would happen if our power actually worked. We are afraid of becoming so visible, so luminous, that we'd no longer fit into the lives we built from smallness. Because power changes things. It disrupts patterns, it collapses identities, it ends cycles. And that means parts of us will be left behind. That is the grief no one speaks of, the sacred shedding that comes with true becoming. You see, most people aren't afraid of darkness. They're afraid of the light inside them they've spent their whole life dimming. Because once you acknowledge that you're powerful, you can no longer pretend you're not. You can't unknow your ability to shift timelines, to magnetize new realities, to collapse what no longer serves. And with that awareness comes responsibility. A quiet, trembling question. What if I create something and it fails? What if I express my truth and it's rejected? What if I finally try and it still doesn't work? But deeper still is the more terrifying truth. What if it does? What if it works? What if people listen? What if the world begins to respond? Then you can't go back. You can't shrink again. You can't silence yourself again. You can't pretend to be asleep in a life that's calling you to wake up. Because our power requires us to change, not just our habits, but our identity, our choices, our relationships, our future. Power doesn't let you remain where you've been. It demands movement. It demands integrity. It asks you to stop hiding behind "not ready" and start living as if you already are. But here's the paradox. Your power won't feel safe until you begin to use it. And once you use it, you realize it was never dangerous to begin with, only unfamiliar. Power is not force. It is not noise. It is not control. True power is soft. It is steady. It is still. It's the quiet knowing that says, I don't need to prove. I only need to express. It's the sacred pulse in your chest when you speak your truth, even if your voice trembles, even if no one claps, even if no one comes. Because when you honor your own frequency, you shift the entire field. It's not domination, it's alignment. It's not about being louder than others, it's about being clear within yourself. And yes, that clarity will cost you. It will cost you the comfort of being liked by everyone. It will cost you the ease of invisibility. It will cost you the numbness that comes from staying small. But it will give you something far greater: peace, freedom, and the miraculous weightlessness of finally being who you are. There is a version of you who is already living in their power. They speak from the soul, create without apology, walk with a quiet knowing that the universe bends to the rhythm of their coherence. They are not afraid to be seen, because they no longer betray themselves to stay hidden. They know that visibility is not a threat, it's a mirror, a reflection of their readiness to serve, to expand, to create. That version of you is not far. They are whispering beneath your hesitation, waiting, patiently, not for the perfect time, but for permission. What would happen if you stopped postponing your power? What would happen if you stopped editing your essence just to fit into what feels familiar? What would happen if you let yourself shine, not because it's safe, but because it's true? Yes, it might feel uncomfortable, but so is the cage you've been living in. So is the numbness of not expressing what lives inside you. Your fear is not the enemy. Your fear is the threshold, the trembling before the leap, the inhale before the song, the silence before the creation. Step into it anyway. Feel the fear and speak anyway. Feel the unknown and create anyway. Feel the shaking and shine anyway. Because power isn't the absence of fear. It's the devotion to truth in the presence of it. And the more you honor your truth, the more fear becomes awe. The more resistance becomes reverence. The more contraction becomes clarity. You don't need to wait until you feel ready. You need to move until your readiness catches up. And when it does, you'll realize your power was never something to fear. It was the key to the life you were always meant to live. So how do we return? How do we reclaim this sacred power that has been buried beneath years of waiting, watching, and wondering? We begin by remembering one simple truth. You are not here to repeat. You are here to originate. You were never meant to fit into a story already written. You were born to write the one the world has never seen. Your existence is not an accident, it's an invitation to co-create with the universe, to dance with the unseen, to mold light into form and intention into matter. But this power is not reclaimed through force. It is reclaimed through alignment. When you begin to move from stillness, not from urgency, when you begin to speak from presence, not performance, creation flows through you. You no longer chase ideas. They arrive like quiet guests at the altar of your awareness. You no longer force manifestation. You become the frequency of what you desire. This is the path of the Creator, not to shout louder, but to listen deeper, not to build taller, but to dig inward until your roots touch source. Because true creation doesn't begin on a screen. It begins in stillness, in silence, in soul. It begins when you pause long enough to feel what your body has been whispering. When you look up from the world you're watching and realize you've been called to shape a new one, but the world won't always affirm this. It may question your slowness, mock your simplicity, dismiss your dreams as too idealistic. or too spiritual. That's okay. The creative path has always felt strange to those who've forgotten wonder. You're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to be true to what stirs in you. Because when you finally create, not to impress, not to be seen, but to serve the soul's unfolding, everything changes. You begin to glow from the inside. You begin to attract differently. You walk into rooms and energy bends around you. Not because you try, but because you no longer need to try. You've remembered who you are. And so I ask you now, what has been calling you softly, quietly, from behind the noise? What dreams keep returning when the world goes silent? What visions live in your chest, beating with the same rhythm as your heart, waiting for you to say yes? This is not about becoming someone else. It's about returning to who you've always been, beneath the static and the scrolling, the artist, the healer, the architect of frequencies, the soul who remembers that everything is energy, and energy can be sculpted with intention. So write, paint, building speak, pray, shape, imagine. Not for the outcome, but for the remembrance that you can. Let this be your rebellion, to create in a world that teaches consumption, to trust stillness in a time obsessed with movement, to honor the unseen, even when no one else is watching. Because when you do, you shift the field around you. You become a tuning fork for possibility, and you remind others, they can return too. You don't need permission, you only need presence. This is your moment. Stop watching, start creating. The universe is waiting to move through you. Somewhere, someone is waiting for exactly what lives inside you. Not a copy, not a perfect version, but your presence, your truth, your light. And that light was never meant to stay hidden behind screens, trapped in drafts, or dulled by self-doubt. It was meant to reach, to warm, to awaken. You may think, but there are already so many voices out there. Yes, but none carry your frequency. No one can sing the song your soul came here to sing. No one can tell the story your scars are shaping into gold. No one can carry the light you've been entrusted with. Through every heartbreak, every delay, every resurrection, the world is starving, not for more content, but for more truth, more presence, more souls brave enough to say, this is who I am, and this is what I see. Because in your seeing, others remember how to look again. In your voice, they find permission to speak. In your art, they reconnect to what's real. So please, don't underestimate the ripple you are. Even a whisper offered in love can echo through a life forever. Even a quiet post, a handmade piece, a sincere word, can land like a miracle in someone else's darkest hour. You don't need 1 million followers to change the world. You only need to show up as who you are. And maybe that's what this entire journey has been about. Not to be seen, but to remember your own vision. Not to go viral, but to go inward. To break the trance of passivity. To remember that the creative pulse of the universe lives within you. And it's been whispering all along, don't wait. The world needs your light. Now. So create, not when you feel ready, but because the world is ready for you. You are not too late. You are not too small. You are not behind. You are right on time, right on purpose. And this is your call to rise, to stop watching and start becoming who you came here to be. You don't need another sign. You don't need another video, another book, or another affirmation to tell you that you are ready. Because truthfully, you've been ready for a long time. The world never asked you to be perfect. It only ever asked you to be present, to show up with your real heart, your imperfect voice, your quiet light that no one else can replicate. Begin, not with something grand, but with something honest, a sentence that moves through you, an idea you refuse to bury this time, a feeling you no longer run from. Creation is not a performance. It is life moving through your hands. It is you reaching back into the moment, alive, raw, and willing. Remember this, everything you see out there, every book, every song, every movement, began with one person who chose to create it, one person like you. The universe is not asking you to change the world. It is only asking you not to dim your light, not to silence the part of you that longs to contribute something true. Just start, not later, not when it's perfect, not when you feel fearless. Start now, from where you are, with who you are. And then everything will begin to shift, not just outside of you, but within you. Stop watching, start creating. The world doesn't need a better version of you. It needs the real you. Now, if these words found you, maybe it's because something inside you is already shifting. Maybe your soul has been whispering, not louder but clearer. And now you're ready to listen, to move, to create, not because the world told you to, but because something sacred inside you is remembering. So if this video stirred something in you, a quiet truth, a buried dream, a spark you almost forgot, honor it, breathe with it, sit with it, then take one small step, not for perfection, not for applause, but simply to respond to the life that's calling you forward. This channel, Sairen, is here to walk beside you as you awaken, as you rise, as you come home to the power you've always carried. So if you felt seen today, if you felt held, if something in you whispered, keep going, then subscribe, like, share this message with a soul who might be forgetting their light too. You're not just a viewer here, you're a part of this frequency. And your light, it matters more than you know. Until we meet again, stay soft, stay open, and stay true. Because the world doesn't need another copy, it needs you.